It started out simple enough. I would log onto the internet and I'd see a couple of memes come through. I mean, they were cute and innocent enough. Stuff like, I started to bake a cake, but then I took an arrow to the knee.
Oh, I see.
But then they wouldn't shut up. The next thing I know, it's everywhere. Stuff that didn't make sense, like, I used to be an arrow, and then I took a knee to the face. And after that, it became personal, and the joke was, well, Bethesda would make a new Elder Scrolls game, but then they took arrows to the knees. Everywhere I look, all I see is arrow to the knee.
Well, I can see how that would be frustrating.
And that's when I realized that I could be a one-trick pony too. You want Skyrim? You'll get Skyrim. The arrow to the knee jokes will never stop. Skyrim on the PlayStation 4 and Xbox. Skyrim on the Switch. Skyrim on the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X. Skyrim on smartphones. Skyrim on Echo Dots. Skyrim on toasters. Everywhere you look, Skyrim, Skyrim, Skyrim.
Okay, Todd, calm down.
Oh, right. Anyway, that's why Elder Scrolls 6 isn't out yet.
Well, thank you, Mr. Howard. I know that was hard, but this is why we're in this support group. Now, who wants to share next?
I will. Hi, I'm Gabe Newell, and I'm here to talk about why I can't count to 3.
Well, hang on, Mr. Newell. I know you're eager, but I think Mr. Feasibe had his hand up first. Go on, Reggie. Tell us what's wrong.
Well, it all started with a website called Starman.net.
This is RPG Backtrack, RPGamer's official retro gaming podcast covering titles from the early days of PC gaming right up through the consoles of yesteryear. Join hosts Kelly Ryan, Matt Mason, and the estimable Mike Minke as they and their guests tell you what to borrow, what to buy, and what to relegate to that big backlog in the sky.
Hello and welcome to RPG Backtrack, your regular deep dive into your favorite RPGs. We are a production of RPGamer.com, bringing you such fine podcasts like RPG Cast, your weekly news show, Q&A Quest, your weekly feedback show, and we are your bi-weekly nostalgia show, and we've got some nostalgia ready to go. I'm Kelly Ryan, and my co-host is Matt Mason.
I'm the dirty one.
And I'm joined by Pascal Takaya and Sam Wachter, and we are talking Skyrim.
Woohoo!
10
Skyrim.
years.
Yeah.
I
Fus
feel
Ro Dah.
freaking old.
I couldn't remember how many years of Skyrim it was. When I left work, my boss was like, what are you talking about tonight on your podcast? I'm like, is it 20 years of Skyrim? Because it feels like 20 years of Skyrim. I know it's not. I checked before I came on, but my brain was like, it's 20, right? It's 20. No, Sam,
I bet
no,
the
it's not that long.
I bet the poor people at Bethesda that have to work on the re-releases will tell you it's about 30 years.
Probably. I feel like that's how much has been taken off their lives.
I mean, I haven't checked. Is Skyrim running on like a birth control? Or no, I'm sorry, a home pregnancy test now?
Wouldn't that be great?
Because I know someone got Doom running on a pregnancy test.
They just released it for sundials, I'm pretty sure.
And I know the lady in the can that I don't want to say her name because she'll activate can play it, but that's about it.
Yeah, you gotta be careful with that one. She might get a little salty with you if you tell her to go on a quest.
Yeah, just a little bit. I'm already mad at her for like adding additional stuff when I just tell her to remind me of something.
Oh, yes. Mine has started doing that, too, just in the past 2 weeks.
Our robot future, ladies and gentlemen. But no, we're talking about our dragon past, Skyrim.
Yeah, I was seriously confused by what you guys were just talking about.
All hail our robot overlords.
She who shall not be named.
I didn't get it.
It's okay, Pascal. We still love
Is
you.
it a Skyrim mod?
Technically, yes, you can play Skyrim on an Echo Dot. It's
Well,
an
I'll get
audio
right on
version. It's an audio only version, though, but it's there. But we're not talking Echo Dot Skyrim. We're talking about, PS3 Skyrim, Xbox 360 Skyrim. It was released on the PC, and then the PS4, and then the PS5, and then all the Xboxes, and then the Switch version, which I don't know if you guys remember, but they showed it running on a Switch in that initial video when they showed off the Switch, and people
It
were
was
like,
the very first one, yeah.
yeah, people were like, is that Skyrim running on Nintendo hardware? and then I think it came out like a year later.
Yeah, and it turned out it wasn't that great on the Switch.
I can't imagine it would.
I wonder what version they were pushing hard the day I walked in to buy Pokemon X and Y.
That was probably the PS3 one, if I'm not mistaken, because
It would have been a couple of years after that. I'm looking, it's 93, or 93, 2013.
Again, feels like 93.
Yeah, 30 years ago. Almost 30 years ago. Playing this game called Pokemon. And they were just like, well, do you want to buy Skyrim while you're here?
I mean, I remember playing it like alternating between Super Mario Brothers on the NES and Skyrim. I mean, way back when.
Nice.
I bought it for my husband and had no idea really what it was because at the time I hadn't really played a lot of Western RPGs. And I watched him play and I was like, I can play this. And then I did, and my poor, learning how to play Western RPG brain, it was feeling like baby's first Western RPG for me. And I was the baby.
Given that whenever I tried to play Morrowind and Oblivion, I was very overwhelmed by all the stat stuff. I was sort of glad it was baby's first Western RPG, to be honest with you, because when it comes to picking your own stats, I am a moron.
Yeah, I like math in real life, but as much as I love seeing the numbers go up, I don't like modifying the numbers to go up.
It's like when you're used to Japanese RPGs and when they just do all that stuff for you, when I have to do it by hand. I mean, I'm doing it in SMT5 right now where it's like, I don't know what to do, so I just, make all the stats even and hope that it works.
Even that's the game within a game. You try to make every stat bar kind of the same length.
Yes.
Wow. That actually seems like the worst possible way to go. I mean,
I mean, in theory, yeah, but you have stats go up naturally, and then you get kind of a bonus one that you put wherever. So it's like, oh, that one's low. I'll just stick it there. But I'm also playing that one on baby mode too.
Oh, well, you could probably stick it wherever then.
I guess that's what it's for. No, I mean, to say that this game made a cultural impact as far as memes and the internet and just gaming overall, it's a bit of an understatement because you could not swing a stick on the internet without hearing about Skyrim 10 years ago.
No, it's true. Skyrim it's a beast in a lot of ways. And it's something that even if you got sick of hearing about it, it just kind of kept rearing its ugly head back out. Mm-hmm. It's like a Hydra. You cut the heads off and it keeps coming back.
I mean, I honestly don't know how popular the Elder Scrolls series was up until this point.
I think it had obviously like its big following, but Skyrim I think was kind of the big one that got people who weren't interested in Elder Scrolls interested in Elder Scrolls.
Yeah,
and I think it's because it was very approachable. Again, you and I talking about the fact that Western RPGs kind of are not necessarily our jam, but it's not like Skyrim was a difficult game to figure out in a lot of ways. Like, yes, there were lots of different stats that you could put your points into and whatnot, but the game never felt overwhelming in that sense. Like, for me, the overwhelming part was just the fact that it was such a big world.
Yeah.
A big, glitchy world.
Yeah, and I think the fact that it being on, being heavily promoted on PS3 and Xbox at the time, because I think Oblivion did pretty well on those two platforms, so they were really pushing that version of it, and because it reached a broader audience as console players as well as PC players, it just became a monster.
Absolutely,
True.
It's an interesting cultural phenomenon, especially given now that again Skyrim is literally on everything.
I mean, that's the joke.
I'm always impressed every time they re-release Skyrim because there's always a part of my brain that's like, I get that you think you're going to get more money, but are you going to get more money? And of course, I'm always proven wrong.
Yeah,
but it's that weird little bit of just like, I do wonder what keeps people coming back to it in a lot of ways.
Yeah, I mean, we can
Aren't
get
you
into
all here to talk about that tonight?
Yeah, we'll get into the magic of it.
That, so.
I'm curious, when was the last time that we all went back to it?
I only played it once, so it was when it came.
Never.
I played it for the first time this year.
So you'll have the freshest brain of all of us.
Yes.
Yeah, I haven't played it. I mean, I played it ad nauseum. Yeah, same here. And I ruined it for myself. I played at probably 100 hours plus. But then that also meant I was heartily finished with it, and I've not gone back.
That's the one thing I will always give any Bethesda RPG is the worlds are huge. There's lots to do. The environmental storytelling is always interesting. The actual story is always crap.
Yeah.
That's the one thing about Skyrim. I remember when Michael Cunningham, God rest his soul, reviewed it for us, and he beat the story in under, I think it was like 15 hours, so he could get the review done. And he's like, I need to go back and actually play some more of this. He's like, but wow, this is the dumbest story.
Yeah, if you play it for review, and then you're actually getting the worst side of Skyrim. I feel
You are.
like.
I think that's true of, again, I feel like any Bethesda or Obsidian RPG. If you just literally blitz it for the story, you're missing the entire experience, because you don't play those games for their main stories. Their main stories, again, are more cookie cutter. Again, this one is literally, you're the Dovahkiin. Good fucking for you. Whatever the fuck that means. By the way, go fight this dragon. Okay. You go fight the dragon. Then you go fight some other fucking things, and that's what I remember. And then you win. You go to some kind of Nord heaven.
Yeah, and
Or
then you have
maybe
to
I
fight
just
some
made that
stuff
up.
there too. No,
That's right. You
true.
still have to fight stuff in Nord heaven. You are absolutely right. Here's me thinking I made that up. You're right. You have to go to Nord heaven to
You're
kill
right,
more
but
things.
that's as far as I remember it too. I don't know what actually happens after you do fight something there. You fight the ultimate dragon, I think, there, and then I guess that's it. Probably credits, game over. I don't know.
Yeah, because I got to the end point. Yeah, credits do roll, and then it just puts you back in the world, and it's like, oh, you can do
There you
other
go.
stuff now. It's cool.
Now have fun.
That's right.
Yes,
So yeah,
finally.
you fight the ultimate dragon. Pascal, you are 100% right, because I'm rereading the synopsis. And then basically he's gone. You basically save the Norse people, and then oh man, that's it. You killed Alduin. You're good.
Yeah.
See, I booted up my Steam account so that I could see when I last played, and that was June 30th. So yeah, it is fresh in my mind. But I also run into an article that says how to win Skyrim. Number 1, hit continue or hit new game. Number 2, wait your beginning cutscene. Number 3, kill everything. Number 4, loot everything. Number 5, question mark, and then number 6 is profit.
I don't know about that looting thing. When I remember I was playing Skyrim once with my D&D group, being in the room, like we'd finished playing, we were just dicking around with the game, and I remember them saying to me, steal that sweet roll, and I was like, why? And they're just like, just do it. Let's see what happens. Let's see if you get away with it. And me, of course, I'm not stealthy. My character's not built for stealth. I get caught, and my husband puts yakety sax on in the background. I got murdered by the man over a sweet roll.
Isn't there even a line about a sweet roll? I can hear it. I can hear it in my mind.
I'm trying to think, but it's not coming.
One of the NPCs loves to talk about a sweet roll.
I think that was the guy I stole it from. I got murdered for it. And my husband's like, serves you right for stealing that sweet roll. And I was like, you told me to do it! He's like, well, you're not supposed to listen to me. I'm an asshole. So I learned my lesson. The lesson is, don't steal shit from people in Bethesda games. It's often not worth it, especially for a fucking sweet roll.
Yeah, see, I thought the lesson was steal, but put a barrel over their head first.
Also a good strategy. See, when I think of Skyrim, there are so many elements that I think about that were done better in other Bethesda games. Like one of the characters that everybody liked to make memes about was Lydia, and Lydia was the first NPC you get. She was also the most useless.
Is she a companion?
She was the first companion you get.
Like from the Companions Guild, I mean, isn't that what they're called?
Yes,
yeah.
I believe so, yeah. And she was kind of funny because people had the problem of, there was a weird glitch at one point with Lydia where people tried to kill her and they just couldn't. It's like, but I should be able to kill everybody in this world. I remember once I killed Lydia and my game glitched and her corpse was on the ground, but her legs were still moving. I was like, well, I don't want this bitch following me. I'm trying to get rid of her. It was the creepiest thing. Then I was like, well, I'll reload my game. So she was alive in my game. And I'm like, well, I don't want you. And every time I tried to part ways, she'd be like, no. And I'd be like, we're supposed to part ways. I don't want you. Like, I have better choices. So I decided at one point, it's like, I'm going to see how far I can go and see if Lydia follows me. So I think because I am the worst at using fast travel, I was just like, I'm going to walk around. I was like, maybe Lydia will die to a dragon. She's fucking invincible.
Yeah.
I was just like, I hate you, game. She's the most annoying follower, and I just want to get rid of her. And I don't know why, like, when I say I don't want her, because she just goes back to your house. If you tell her that you don't want her, like, she just goes back to your house if you have a house.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't want you in my house being a creeper if I'm having sex with people. Like, no! She's the creeper that watches.
See, I think I ended up just leaving her in my house, and then when I got another house in the Stormcloak capital, I just kind of left her in the old house.
I forgot about her so many times, and then I'd go back to my house, and I'm like, you're still here.
That's funny because in my mind, I thought I had married her. But now I'm kind of wondering, because you're right, she's always at my house. I wonder if she just, went to my house and over time I just kind of decided, okay, I guess we're married now.
I can tell you who I married.
How the common law thing comes about.
Yeah.
Because I actually have a good story about marriage in Skyrim because, so this is one of my first Western RPGs. And one thing I loved was I didn't know about the Amulet of Mara. I just thought it was a random item and I put it on. I go to the town with the mining, like the mine, and all of a sudden I start talking to the miner's daughter. And all of a sudden she's like, yes, I will marry you. I'll meet you in Riften. I must have been half asleep. My husband's like, do you know what dialogue you picked? I'm like, no, I'm tired and I'm just pushing buttons. He's like, you guys she wants to marry you. And I was like, oh, Matt, we're fine. So I was like, why do I have to, like, why is there a new quest here? It's like, all right, let's see what this is. So here's me rushing through dialogue options and not paying attention. And so I go to Riften, which, by the way, I'm wanted in Riften. I'm wanted, so I can't even go in there safely. So I had to blitz through Riften in hopes that nobody would murder me to get to the church. Enemies are coming into the church, and I am standing at the altar with this random woman. The game goes, you're married. And my husband goes, did you just accidentally get lesbian married? And I'm like, I think I did.
Oops, got married.
This is interesting. So we had a song growing up, which was accidental lesbian marriage because Sam's a fucking moron. That was the song we used to sing every time that I was reminded that I had my accidental lesbian marriage. So later on, the story continues. I forget my wife exists. So I go back to town, and I'm like, cool, she gave me a pie. This is great. So I installed one of the DLCs where you could choose between being a vampire or a werewolf. So I was like, cool, this is great. I'm going to be a werewolf. This is going to be amazing. I'm going to choose a random town to terrorize. Which town do you think I picked?
The one you're wanted in.
The coal miner's daughter.
The one where that's right.
Right.
The one with the miner's daughter. Guess who accidentally killed her lesbian wife? Because she was not paying attention.
Oh, again, okay. Man, I'm starting to feel bad for that NPC.
Oh, I know. My husband looks, he goes, what were you thinking? And I was like, I don't remember what town my wife's in. He goes, you just killed your wife. Now
She
you're
was so unremarkable to you. First you accidentally marry her, then you accidentally kill her.
I know, I'm the fucking worst. I'm the fucking worst. And I said to him, it's like, well, she did give me a pie once. And Scott was like, yes, that's exactly how you want to remember your wife. She gave you a pie once. And I was like, well, it was a good marriage while it lasted. He said, you murdered her as a werewolf. And I was like, only because I didn't remember where she was. And in my head, I'm going, why didn't I think about my other house where Lydia is? I could have killed her as a werewolf. No, I killed my wife. So this is what I learned about playing Skyrim. You need to pay attention because you might accidentally get married in the town that you're wanted in because you made poor life choices. So don't do what I did. This is your cautionary tale, listeners. Don't do what Sam did. Make smarter choices.
And thus, the longest intro in Backtrack history has been recorded.
Sorry.
No, it's fine.
Oh, it's great to be with you all here tonight. What are we going to talk about again?
Elder Scrolls 5.
Accidental Backtrack intro.
No, see, this is what's awesome about having Sam on. You just let her go. You don't question it.
I'm sorry.
No, it's cool. I don't care. I love this kind of stuff. This is the kind of content that we have you on for.
Either I hit stop, hit record, and you say it then, or you just keep going. It's all the same.
And then what? You
It's all
splice
good.
it together.
The
Oh,
magic
no.
of editing will make it beautiful.
Okay.
The magic of editing is this is just all going up in the order you say it.
Okay.
So,
That'd be the magic of non-editing, though.
Needless to say, I think we're chomping at the bit to get into this game. So let's take
I
a
think
quick,
so.
a brief break, and then come back. And we were just going to dive in with both barrels into Skyrim. So stick around. And welcome back to RPG Backtrack, where we are chomping at the bit to get into Skyrim, originally released November 11th, 2011, 10 years ago. And you guys feeling old yet? Because this made me feel really old this week.
I feel old for jumping the gun.
No, it's perfectly fine.
I mean, I don't, because I didn't care about re-releases or anniversaries coming up anymore. So I kind of didn't even know.
Are you saying that time is a construct?
Yes.
Is it?
Who
I don't
knows?
remember.
Time is a sweet roll, okay?
Yes, time is a sweet roll. So Skyrim was developed using the creation engine, which was made specifically for this game. And like we were talking about in the intro, they really tried to optimize this to have it be. I don't know if they wanted it more accessible or just easier for the console player to understand, because they just hit. What am I trying to say? That they just.
You said the right word. Like
Yeah.
it is a much more accessible game. Especially, I tried to go back to Oblivion after I'd played this, and I just remember being very frustrated with how much I hated the UI in Oblivion compared to Skyrim.
Yeah, they streamlined everything a lot.
Which is funny because if you try to play Skyrim on the PC, you can tell that it's optimized for consoles because the UI feels very clunky on PC. At least that's what I felt. But yeah, just not having to worry about stats, not having to worry about proficiency or stuff. Just whatever you use, you get good at, and the more you use it, the more you keep getting good at it. So I ended up doing a kind of a magic / sword build where it's like one hand is my sword and one hand is my lightning, because of course I went full Sith Lord, and that pretty much got me through the entire game.
And that is the right combo, if I'm being honest. Like, there are lots of options in this game for how you can build your character, but only some of them really actually feel useful.
Yeah, I wanted
How lightning is your best friend. If I could just have lightning fingers, that fixes all of my problems.
See, I wanted to try and get into like doing arrows and stuff, but after a while, it's like I cannot hit the broadside of a barn with a freaking arrow in this game.
Yeah, it was pretty much arrows all the way.
Arrows were great if you were patient enough to figure it all out. I did some arrows. Like, I did put a little bit into arrows, and I put a lot into Sword and Board because I wanted to feel like super old school Norse mythology bro. Given I played like a Nord lady, because at the time I was like, I could be a kitty person or an alligator. But I think I'm going to play a human because I'm lame. Should have played. I realized I was like, I didn't get to play the crocodile person. I got to play a human because at the time I was like, I want to be a pretty girl. Learned my lessons in other games, but
Yeah.
Well,
Shoot,
pretty in like quotation marks, I think.
I was going to say, everyone in a
They're
Bethesda game is
all
ugly as
ugly.
shit. Yep. Everyone got hit by the ugly stick a little too hard.
Yeah,
in
the faces in this game are very uncanny valley.
Yes.
I think that was one of the first mods that I had downloaded, was to fix the faces.
How to think Pascal and I had playing on 360, hey Pascal?
Yeah.
No mods to
Nope.
prettify everybody. Everybody was hit with the stick. Yeah, no, it was not good times.
So how did that encumbrance work for you?
Well, you get a house. So
You
that
put all your shit in the house.
yep.
Hope
Just
you
drop
remember
it?
where your house is. Yep.
You put it in the bottomless chest that's in the house. Well, or any bottomless chest, but yeah.
That's how I solved problems.
Yes. First off, I downloaded the mod to remove encumbrance, and then I
Mm.
did something to fix the faces, and I think those were the only two mods that I really rolled with. I think there was and a better inventory one that actually let me search my inventory and let me sort it, because my god, the inventory menu in that game drives me up the freaking wall.
The inventory menu that in most Bethesda games have not been fixed because they're gonna, use the creation engine until they die.
Yeah.
Everything since Skyrim has been made on the creation engine. Yeah.
Yeah. And to no one's surprise, if you know me at all, I rolled a Khajiit because I am cat. I am always cat.
Again, I
Nope,
like the
not
lizard
surprised.
people. The Argonians are pretty, like they slap, and I'm again a little mad at myself that I did not pick them. My husband did. He liked the Argonians. So again, I was doing can I make a really pretty girl?
Yeah, that's
Lesson
okay. I think I
learned.
played a Nord too.
Just like be a
Boring.
boring Nord. Boring Nord.
I think it's one of the better character builds though.
It is. I mean, again, if I'm not mistaken, it's the balanced build, is it not?
Yep.
Because I think it's
sure.
if you had if you picked any of the other races, you had likely, here's what you're super good at, but here's what you're really bad at.
Yeah, don't the Nords have some kind of natural resistance though?
Yes. Yeah,
guess
they were
cold.
it was to the cold, especially, so it was handy for that end part of the game, right?
Oh,
But
God.
yeah, all the races had something unique about them in terms of both their stats and abilities. They all got one unique thing. Do I remember what all of them are? No. Did I care when I was playing? Not really, because as I've told you all, I don't pay attention sometimes. Hey. But Skyrim was a neat experience, given, again, it gave you lots of different options. You had the ability, again, to kind of build your character any way that you wanted, based with, again, the parameters. But there was a lot of choice, I think,
Well,
given
I
what they
mean,
provided you with.
character build wise, sure you have choice for of stats, but I don't think it impacts your game in any way as far as story or what happens
No.
during your game. I'm pretty sure it's just cookie cutter. Whatever you pick, you'll have the exact same experience. The experience is what you make it. It has nothing to do with what you chose at the character screen.
See, I remember, because again, this is one of my first Western RPGs. I was super impressed with the amount of choice, but I'm older and wiser now, and I realize exactly what you said, Pascal. It's wait, this doesn't matter. Why did I think this mattered? I remember being so mad when I finished it, and I was here's me thinking I put all my stats in different spots, and then my husband's it's never gonna matter, because all you do is go up and you punch everything. He's you didn't change your strategy. You punched everything. You tried to punch a dragon because you thought you could. And that dragon showed you. And I was and then I got strong enough that I could punch it back. Because that's the other stupid thing about this game. You want to put all your stats into all your points into one thing. You can be so godlike. I'm going to put all my points into sword. I'm going to suck at everything else, but I'm going to be great at sword. You can kill your dragon by putting all your points in sword. If you want to put all your points in punch, you can punch a dragon in this game. You want to put all your points bow? You can bow that dragon. This game was a little OP, depending on how you put your stats in.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Just a bit.
I couldn't get over how just ridiculous magic was in this game.
Magic is hella OP in this game, especially compared to other Western RPGs that were on the market for doing a magic class. I think a Dragon Age, and I don't remember magic being as OP in Dragon Age the way it was in Skyrim. I think magic really was a win button solution. Literally, you just walk up to magic and things died.
Oh yeah, especially if you do the magic guild's quest chain.
Yes.
Because for getting that one, you get a robe that pretty much just insta heals your mana over time.
The College of Winterhold.
Yeah, College of Winterhold, which that was a really good side quest, I might add. But we'll get into
and
that.
yes, I was going to say, like, for the most part, I think the side quests can be described as, well, that was really good.
Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, it made me like super mage kitty, and I'm fireballing things left and right, and I'm using ice magic and stuff. But my favorite was still the Force Lightning, just because you pretending that I'm Darth Sidious as a cat in a Viking themed area is just my kind of fantasy.
See, my favorite quest in Skyrim, outside of obviously doing the Temple of Mara one, because let's spread love throughout Skyrim, because I did it by accident. I like the Thieves Guild quest. Like that was actually where I put a lot of my focus on when I was playing Skyrim. Was I love the Thieves Guild despite being the worst at stealth in every video game I play. I have this weird insistency that one day I'm going to get better at it, and then I never do. I still rush in like a fool. I'm like, I can kill everything! And Scott would be like, sweetie, like the whole point of this bit was stealth. And I'm like, I'm going to kill it anyways! In this conversation, you've all learned I'm pretty impatient. I think it's the Canadian in me.
Well, the way stealth works is you crouch down, and anybody who can see you at the time will eventually like turn away or walk somewhere else, and then you're magically stealthed again. Like the fact that everybody saw you crouching in the corner does not factor into it. You are hidden from the world now.
I thought that was hilarious. Like when I played that game, I'm like, I'm crouching. This guy is clearly in front of me. He does not see me. I'm gonna steal his whatever's in his pockets. And that's when they would freak out. Because they'd be like, you're touching my pockets. But if you had, like high stealth, good chance that like they never noticed you taking from their pockets. See, I'm a little disappointed because one of my favorite things I like to do in Fallout was put dynamite in people's pockets and then run away. So you can't do that in Skyrim, and I'm very upset about that because that would have solved many of my problems with everybody hating me in Riften. Curse you, Riften.
See, one of the side quests had me having to go pickpocket something. Or no, steal something from a stall while somebody else did a distraction. And I kept failing that quest because every time this like stupid woman would follow me and watch me the whole time. And I think that was the whole point, was that she was supposed to watch you. So it's like, lady, go away. So I punch her in the face and then cause an incident. And end up stealing the thing and running and getting credit for the quest. But it was like, oh my God, just go away so I can steal the thing. Just go.
That is one thing I love. Go ahead, Pascal. You go first.
Sam needs a quest in Skyrim like they had in Fallout 3, where you basically get to decide to push the button and wipe that starting town right off the fucking map.
I actually kept all those assholes alive.
Oh, okay. Well, if it was Riften, though, like, we know what you would choose.
Oh, no, I would have blown them all up.
Push the button.
Just push the button. I will segue just to Fallout for a second. Do you remember how there was that quest, Pascal, called Big Town? Where you have to escort the one guy to Big Town because he's too old to be in Little Lamplight? You bet your ass.
Way too specific.
Well,
no, I don't remember anything
I will
like
tell
that.
you a story that will eventually circle back to this.
Fallout 3?
The big kid. In Fallout 3, there is a big kid, and he's like, I am so excited that I get to go to Big Town because I'm an adult now. And he was so fucking annoying. Like, he tells you horrible jokes. He annoys you the whole walk there. And he's wearing a birthday hat. So I get him to Big Town, and I shot him in the back of the head, and I took his birthday hat. Literally got him into the town because I was just like, I can't listen to these jokes anymore. Scott's like, what did you do? And I'm like, he pissed me off. And this is one of the only games where I can cite my rage on people. But also, I got a birthday hat out of it. In Skyrim, I did the same damn thing. The stupider the hat, I wore it. I love how ugly most of the clothing in Skyrim is. Like,
Oh God, yeah.
Ugly like skulls and stuff, and I was like, well, I went from being like, my girl needs to be super pretty to, oh my God, is this a ram's head? I'm gonna put this on my face. Oh man, why does my clothes look like it's dripping in blood? This is great. She wasn't pretty no more.
Yeah, unfortunately my poor kitty girl just had a hood on most of the game, so didn't really do a whole lot for her looks, but it's definitely sold that mage illusion at least. I wish I could have worn the hat that's on the box art, or not the box art, but the Skyrim hat, the hat that's depicted in every version of the Dovahkiin. I wanted to wear that one, but that hat's like useless.
It's a bad hat. There's a lot of bad hats. Most of the hats in Skyrim don't really protect you from anything. That's true in all Bethesda games. The best hats, not good for anything other than being a hat.
But bringing in the Dovahkiin, just real quick, getting into the main story of the game. There's basically a giant dragon that's going to destroy the world, and you have to go kill it. That's the story. That's
the story.
Yeah.
And then there's a lot of other dragons who are just around.
Yeah, there's also the Civil War.
Oh, the Civil War that nobody cares about because both sides are stupid.
I mean, yeah, so both of those storylines start during the tutorial scene. You got the Civil War stuff starting right away, and you've got obviously the dragon attack, and I couldn't care less about either one of those things.
See, I ended up going with the Civil War story, specifically with the Ulfric, because I have a friend that does fan comics with Ulfric, and that's sort of how I learned about that character. And it's like, I'm going to see what this guy is all about, and I ended up becoming, basically his right-hand man. And while that story wasn't anything to write home about, I did kind of like that character and kind of appreciated just how cool he kind of was. And at the time, I didn't realize that was him in the opening scene when he's on the wagon with you, where you're going to go get beheaded. And I just going through the whole storyline. That's how I ended up in a house in that town, and that quest line ends with a raid on one of the Imperial cities that felt like it went on forever, because I couldn't figure out who I needed to kill to get that whole raid to stop. And I don't know if either of you guys did any of that.
Probably. I think I did everything as much as I could, but I was very not invested in the main storyline, including the Civil War. I mean, obviously I remember Ulfric and stuff, but no, I could tell you.
Though I will say one of the cooler bits about the main storyline is the quest where you have to go trap a dragon in a castle keep.
Yeah, no, that was pretty cool. But I mean, it's a good idea, but it isn't. I don't think it's necessarily engaging from carrying it out from a technical perspective. It's not. Oh, that was fun gameplay. Yeah, but it was a neat idea, sure.
Yeah, it did make me kind of upset. It's well, I can't ride around on this dragon whenever I want to. That's kind of a missed potential there.
I think overall, dragons kind of bored me after. Well, so there's the dragon in the opening scene that basically gives you your freedom and saves you from being beheaded. And then, depending on how fast you carry on with the main story, there's another dragon not too long after that. I think it's meant to be the first scripted dragon attack. It's when the guards from I was gonna say River Run, but it's not. It's Riften, isn't it? When
I think so.
There's a watchtower being near the city being attacked by a dragon, and I think you actually are sent that way maybe to go help out. Or I think maybe you get sent there prior to the dragon attack, whatever. But that's the last dragon related thing that I remember being interesting as far after that they just become I got so much more interested in, so like Sam was saying, the environmental storytelling, that anytime a dragon decided to randomly spawn and attack me, it was just kind of an annoying chore to deal with, other than the fact that oh yay, I get a dragon soul and some dragon bone stuff that I can sell, and that's gonna weigh down my encumbrance for a while.
Yeah, it always felt like the dragons attacked me at the most inappropriate times, fast traveling to the top of a mountain with my horse, and I'm like, wait, I hear something. Oh God, there's a dragon, and it knocked me halfway down the mountain, and then my horse tried to, kick it, and that was a bad idea for the horse, because that horse got kicked into oblivion. No pun intended. there was another time when I had accidentally woke up like some demi-lich or something at the top of the mountain. And I'm like fighting this demi-lich and this dragon at the exact same time, and these things are both just kicking my ass. So I had to do a lot of quick save loading for that bit. And yeah, it seemed like the dragon attacks always came at the worst times. But it also seemed like when I needed to get dragon souls so that I could go power word hunting, they were never around.
Well, I made a choice early on in my playthrough that I did not use fast travel during the game. And so I ran into, quite a few dragon attacks, and they became old and annoying very fast.
So wait, you didn't use fast travel?
Yeah, no. If I went somewhere, I walked there. Well, or rode a horseback. I think I might have taken I might have taken a carriage once or twice, maybe, but that's it. Yeah, because like I said, I got much more interested in like the stuff you just randomly run into in the wild, and fast travel means you don't. So if I needed to go across the map to go to make progress on one quest or another, I walked my ass there, because along the way, like, you could be sure I would probably spend like the next like 3 weeks just doing random shit that you run into in the on the map. And eventually I'll get to where I needed to be and turn in the quest that I'm actually doing.
Yeah, I kind of have to use fast travel to curb my ADD, because otherwise I will try to do everything, which is a good thing for this game. But also, like, I have other games that I want to play, so at some point I need to do stuff.
Well, I'm kind of glad I did it that way, because it's really the reason why I enjoyed Skyrim. If I hadn't done it and missed out on the just like miscellany in the world, I probably would have not enjoyed it nearly as much.
No, that's a fair take, because I mean, whenever I would just kind of like pick a direction and go, it's like, ooh, a cave. I wonder what's in this cave.
Yeah,
And that's how I found a light sword, apparently, and swore fealty to a light god, and I didn't even know I could do that.
And there's almost always, I think there is almost always something, not like loot necessarily only, but there's almost always some sort of little side story to find. Like any cave or ruins you come across, if you search, like, you're likely to find like a journal of, I don't know, like, an expedition that went there and ran into misfortune, and then while you're just going through for no real reason, you're kind of also following up on that storyline, and you're finding like journal entries or a letter or who knows what, right? Like, there's almost always something to find.
Did you guys get sucked into reading the books?
Yep.
Yes. Yes.
Some of the stories were really silly, but I liked some of the stories in Skyrim. I thought they were a lot of fun most of the time. I mean, that's where you get just some of the best, like, little zingers and stuff like that, just of people having upset conversations about their neighbors, or just kind of what's going on in the world. And again, sometimes you learn like some gory details about how people were surviving. The environmental storytelling is one of Bethesda's. It always has been Bethesda's stronger suit in a lot of ways. That's why having the main story be you go fight the dragon, is such a letdown in a lot of ways, because you feel like there should have been more to that game than just go fight the dragon. You killed the dragon, yay! Because again, how do you make a 90-hour game off of that? You literally can't. But I don't know, like. I'm having such a hard time remembering a lot of the side quests. I remember more from the DLCs, like the Dragonborn DLC tried to expand on the ending of the game, because you literally could not play Dragonborn unless you had hold on a sec. Yeah, you literally had to, I was just double checking my information, you literally had to finish the game in order to do that. But yeah, just...
Yeah, I probably don't remember like actual side missions as much either. I mean, I remember like the major guild quests and stuff like that. But yeah. I also got sucked into reading the books, and quite a few of them are just like exactly that, like they're actual books. They're not all like about the people that you're meeting, but they're like stories that somebody wrote, like completely fictional stories about who knows what.
I appreciate books within video games that tell their own story.
That's another kind of storytelling I like, and even if it's just like lore and just lore about the world, it's very neat. And then there's the books about the other regions. Like okay, so like some books. I think there's like a book series you find, and in it it talks about a traveler, and he goes to Morrowind and all the other places that I can't name because I'm a noob on Elder Scrolls.
I was about to ask, so I think none of us have played any other Elder Scrolls game, have we?
So I did try playing Morrowind on the I think it was on the actual Xbox, and I got as far as, so if I remember correctly, like this is another 10 years before Skyrim, of course, right? So 20 years ago, I think you start the game on a boat, or at least you're on a boat like very, very early on, and then you get off the boat and you're supposed to go play the game. So I think I got as far as like the harbor master's hut, or whatever hut is right next to like the pier where you get off the boat. And I went in and I found a bookshelf, and can you guess what's about to happen? And I realized, oh, I can pick these books up and I can open them and read them. And I probably spent 2 hours in front of the bookshelf, and then I got like tired, and and time to turn the game off. And then later I realized, like, wow, that game was like nothing. I spent 2 hours reading books, and I was not motivated to ever come back to it a second time. So that was my time with Morrowind there.
Yeah, I tried to play Morrowind on the original Xbox, and I've always been allergic to especially older Western RPGs where they just kind of move you through the tutorial and then stick you in the world and are like, okay, now find out what you need to do next. But Morrowind was particularly bad about that, where it's like, I have no idea where I need to go or what I need to do or who I need to talk to advance this main story. And I realize with Western RPGs, especially the Elder Scrolls series, that's kind of not the point, is that you're supposed to kind of explore and stuff like that. But I didn't know that at the time. I'm used to Japanese RPGs where they just kind of, funnel you in the right direction. So
and it's such a big difference.
Yeah.
And that might have been my downfall. Like, I was not prepared for the overkill of freedom. And like I said, like, it led to just going, even being able to just stand at a bookcase and read. And it was just like, it was overwhelming. And I didn't go back, which is very unfair to the game.
But I appreciate that Skyrim did a much better job of that, because it kind of, you go through the underground prison after the opening bit, and the guy kind of say
that before you even get there, like, just that opening scene is pretty great.
Yeah.
And I don't just mean the ride in the cart. I mean, like, everything that could be considered like tutorial, I guess, up until you get to, it's River Run, right? Like, this the first city you get to. I know there was one called River Run somewhere. I think everything until you get to River Run, which is, I know you can kind of plot your own course before you get there and kind of skip going there for a while. But I'm sure most players at that stage probably just kind of follow the first direction they're given, which is go there.
Yeah.
And then you're more or less set loose a little bit more. But like, everything up to that point is pretty great.
Yeah.
I agree.
They give you a couple of different quests in River Run that you can branch off to if you're not going to start the main story right away. So they do a much better job of kind of easing you into that open world thing so that you're not as overwhelmed like I was when I first started Morrowind, and Oblivion to a degree.
Yeah, I've also tried Oblivion. I didn't make it probably much further than you did in Oblivion either.
I didn't get far in Oblivion either. I hated the UI in Oblivion so much. And that was always like why when I looked at Skyrim and I'm like, I don't know much about Western RPG UI, but this I understand.
Yeah.
Oblivion also had a good intro, though. That's the one where you're in the underground prison, and so you're not given all that choice right off the bat. Like, you kind of have to do some stuff before you turn free.
I remember being freaked out by the amount of choice. Like, I didn't find it I found it overwhelming, but I also felt like I was a kid with a bunch of pixie sticks, in that I could just kind of vibrate on any frequency I wanted, and I could do whatever I wanted. And again, I didn't know, it's like, do I play a good person? Do I play a bad person? And I remember, like, I was asking my husband a billion questions while we were playing it, because I was like, does it matter? And he goes, it doesn't matter if you're good or evil in this world. Like, the game is not save the baby, eat the baby. He's like, there are other games where that is totally how morality works. He goes, but Skyrim, he's like, the morality is a bit more on the grayer side. Like, you can do things that are pure evil and you can do things that are super good, but does it really affect the outcome of the game? I don't remember it really doing that, especially compared to like playing Fallout 3 or playing It's another good example of save the baby, eat the baby. Or Fallout 4, where it's a lot more noticeable. Playing your Paragon and your Renegade in
Mass Effect. Right?
Skyrim was very good at just being like, you can be as evil as you want, you can be as good as you want, you can be as neutral as you want. The only thing that matters is just when you make your choices, yes, there are consequences, but there are consequences where you can, again, take them into your own hands and just find a solution. Like, again, I look at my being wanted in Riften as a case of, I also could have just went and murdered everybody in Riften. And that's still a choice, right? Like, I could have just killed everybody in the town, and that would have been a solution to me being wanted. The downside, of course, is I think I was, like, a low-level noob. So I don't think I actually could have killed all the guards in Riften by myself. But if I had those sweet werewolf powers, you bet your ass I could have killed everybody in Riften. Man, I want to try that.
I'm having to pull up a map because I can barely remember any of the names of the...
I just remember, like, Riften, again, was where the Thieves Guild was, and then there was the one that was attached to, like, this giant wall. And I remember, like, that was a whole big main quest, was the whole, like, you have to go in there and kind of, that's one of the sides you could pick, if I remember correctly.
Attached to the wall?
Not attached, but the people behind the wall. Words are hard.
What?
If I remember correctly, there is a town, and I'm going to look it up. Skyrim towns, because we have the internet.
I think it's Whiterun. Oh, no, wait, no, Whiterun is the first
Whiterun
town.
is like the, yeah.
Windhelm.
Windhelm, maybe.
Windhelm
There's one
is
I'm
where
thinking
you...
of. Oh, it's this one. Okay, so it's Markarth. Markarth was the one that is carved into living rock itself. So it was the town that was basically made in the mountainside.
Is it somewhere in the west of the map?
I believe so.
I don't remember. The name sounds familiar. What the hell is Markarth?
I'm gonna tell you what Markarth is. Because I remember there being a lot of weird shit in there. So there was the Silverblood family, and they own the mine. That's where, like, that's the area where the miners' village is.
That's the mining town?
So there's the mining town that's next to it. Like, there's a little town next to it, and then there is Markarth. And when you start the quest in the mining town, it takes you to Markarth because you have to deal with the Silverblood family and the mine, because there's, like, an issue with, like, how they're treating the workers and all that stuff. It's not that memorable of a quest. The only reason it was memorable to me was, again, I married the miner's daughter during that quest.
See, somehow, and I think it was probably because I was loyal to Ulfric, somehow I ended up getting a wanted level in Whiterun. And then eventually you take over that town as the Stormcloak, so that kind of became a non-issue.
I don't even remember who I was loyal to. That's like how long it's been.
That sounds familiar. I think I did that.
But also, I think by the time I got to Windhelm, I had accidentally killed some Windhelm citizens, so I was getting killed on site there too, and had to, like, go into the console and manually reset whatever wanted level that I had. Because it screwed up what I wanted to do. I used that console a lot on the PC version, by the way. I gave myself 1,000 lockpicks. So,
by the way, like the consequence of having a wanted level in a city might be realistic, but I don't really enjoy that as a system of, like, here's a consequence to your actions. Again, I would rather have something that doesn't prevent me from playing the game, just has, like, an effect on how the game plays out narratively. And I honestly don't remember there being a lot of that in Skyrim. It's like Sam said, like, the morality system doesn't really affect a whole lot, other than what, like, your wanted level, and is that really it?
Yeah, I think so. And it's one of those things where it's kind of a double-edged sword, because otherwise you get a game like Mass Effect where it's, save the baby, eat the baby, black and white. But on the other hand, if you have a game like Skyrim where, it has no effect on the story, then it has pretty much no effect on anything. So I don't know what I prefer. I almost kind of prefer Skyrim's route, where I could just, do what I want, and my only consequence is get killed on site in the city, and that's okay with me.
Again, the more I find with Western RPGs, especially in that PS3 and 360 era, I mean, morality systems were getting more interesting. I wouldn't say they were, like, as complex as they are now. But I think the consequences, at least with Skyrim, are so little, again, especially compared to playing like Fallout 3, which I believe came before it. Again, if you went the kill the baby route, like the consequences in Fallout 3 are astronomical to the player. Whereas, in Skyrim, you murder a bunch of people, you're wanted, nobody gives a shit. Maybe they find you. I mean, I had a great glitch where I was wanted in a different city, and I basically let them just chase me around the map. I'm just running away, and I'm killing the ones that are following me. And I think just one guy kept following me. At one point later on in the game, I just remember there was just this random guy from that town. This must have been like an hour after I did my shits and gigs. And I'm like, why is this guy still following me? Like, it's been an hour. Like, I thought I got away from you. But that's one of the beauties of Skyrim's glitches. Just the weirdest things will happen. And you don't know why it's happening or just if a wire got crossed. Like, it's very bizarre. I was saying to Kelly before the show, I had a really great glitch where a dragon spawned in the ground. And I couldn't figure out for the life of me, I'm walking around, I'm killing a dragon that's above me, and I'm killing things, and I'm like, but what's actually killing me? Because something's trying to kill me, and it's this dragon, and you can barely see it, but it's breathing fire, and it's damaging me, and I'm like, well, I need to go kill this dragon. I'm thinking, well, it's on my level, I can punch it. I could not punch it. Because it had glitched so badly, I couldn't kill the dragon. When I reloaded my save, the dragon was still stuck in the ground.
That's a good callback to the dragon punching, by the way.
Yep.
Nicely done.
Sometimes I'm very, very good at transitions, and sometimes I'm beyond terrible at them. But yeah, like, can you guys think of any weird glitches you got while playing the game?
My weirdest glitch was I had saved an orc in a town, and he said to go to this place, to this fort, and tell them that know this orc. And I went to that place and talked to the orc leader in the fort and said the name, and all of the orcs just up and attacked me. And for some reason, when I tried to reload my save, that entire fort was completely hostile to me afterwards, and I couldn't figure out what I did or how I managed to do that. And I was very frustrated because, I wanted to, get into some of the orc weaponry and stuff. And it's like, well, I guess every one of these orcs in this fort is going to have to die. So, kind of went on a murder spree there because I was not in the mood to reset the whatever it is that causes you to be wanted at that point using the console. And it was like, well, that was unfortunate. I guess every orc in Skyrim is going to hate me now. But
that does sound very Patrick Bateman. Well, I guess just every one of these orcs is going to have to die.
Yep, pretty much. And to this day, I still don't know if it was a glitch or if I just, insulted that orc's mother by accident or what. It was weird.
The only thing that I remember happening to me is I lost my companion in a pirate or like a pirate cave, or I'm calling them pirates, but I guess they were more just like regular robbers. And he stayed in there for 6 months, and then he came out.
That's kind of weird.
It was one of the companions from Whiterun. I think it's one of the brothers. I think they were brothers, and one of them becomes your guy. Anyway, I went in there, no problem. He followed me, and after we had cleared out the cave, I left, and I don't even know how long it was, because you just kind of run and you just assume your companion is somewhere behind you catching up. And eventually so that's the problem. It's like I don't think I even realized at the time where I'd lost him. I just eventually oh shit, he's not here. How long has he not been here? Okay, so where is he at? And it took a long time. I think I found him by accident, either tracking down some quest objective or just randomly going to different, like I said, I like to do just go into different locations. And one day I found him when I just randomly went back in that cave, and there he was, popped right up and fought right alongside me, and he stayed behind again. But this time now I knew, oh, this is where he's at. And I think I looked it up, and from what I remember, there were no fixes to this. And I just kept playing, and every now and then would visit that cave, and just randomly one day, I don't know how many visits it took, he left the cave when I did, and it's like, oh, buddy, we're back together. And that was it. But
I love it.
But that goes to goes to show you that the companion was also very like useless. It just meant I didn't have an extra storage chest with me for however long that took. It never affected my gameplay in any way, not having a freaking companion.
Yeah, I mean, that was the frustrating thing for me and companions in this game is the ones that I hated, I just couldn't wait to either leave behind or let them die. And the ones that I loved, I didn't want to bring with me because I didn't want them to die, because I honestly wasn't sure if permadeath was a thing in this game with the companions or not.
So,
not that I ever saw. Maybe some of them it is.
well, that's it. How many times did I say to you that I tried to kill Lydia? She just
they kind of go down on one knee and eventually like, oh, I'm better.
Okay.
Now, I'm trying to remember, and maybe one of you can correct me. Did the companions actually have like special skills in Skyrim? Because I don't remember them having like any special or unique skills compared to like, again, playing the Fallout games where the companions actually have skills.
I'm not sure. The only thing I could think of, the only one I could imagine maybe is if you have a companion from the actual like companions guild who are, spoilers, werewolves. Yes. I wonder if when you transform into a werewolf, maybe they do too, but I couldn't tell you if that's the case or not.
Huh. I remember with the werewolf DLC that like you got the werewolf skills, right? Because the other one option was you could be a vampire, right? Because that whole DLC.
But the werewolf was part of the base game, I'm pretty sure.
Yes. It's just you could actually transform into the werewolf if you had the DLC. Like you couldn't do it in the main game. Because I remember when I got Dawnguard, the game actually will like outright ask you, do you want to become a vampire or do you want to become a lycanthrope? And I was like, well, vampires are stupid, so of course I'm going to go lycanthrope.
I mean, I feel like you could, because I don't think I ever purchased DLC and I was able to transform.
I'm wondering if it was because if you get bitten by one, maybe?
Yeah, that might have been. Eventually, the quest line kind of goes there. Yeah.
And that's the only thing I can think of, Pascal, outside of the stupid DLC.
Did you do the companion's quest line?
I did, but I don't remember. Again, my brain's a little fuzzy. I don't remember.
Or maybe there's certain choices you can make that block that off. I believe I did have the option of transforming, or maybe it was only during certain times.
Maybe certain times. It's one of those ones where it's.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think I used it once, like in the entire game. It was, again, neat idea, but it was totally unnecessary. Yeah.
I mean, and that's how I felt about playing the Dawnguard DLC. Was just, it's a fun concept being able to be either a werewolf or a vampire, and you do the quest chains and whatever. But it was a totally pointless DLC. Like, I think the best DLC was the one where just it gave you all the added storage, the children, the houses, so that you could just build your weird Nordic fantasy. Like, that was the only one I remember, like, people actually giving a shit about. And I remember people being like...
Hearthfire.
Yeah, Hearthfire. Whereas Dragonborn, I remember people being like, well, this doesn't add anything to the stupid dragon story. And it's like, well, yeah, because the story is literally go kill the ultimate dragon, which is fucking stupid. So I remember Dawnguard, I remember finishing that and being like, this is dumb, because I can just either be a werewolf or a vampire and just kill everybody. Or, I don't know, terrorize people, which is what I did. And then the last DLC, the Dragonborn one, it was just like, I guess they're trying to add to the ending, even though the ending's not interesting. The DLCs were pretty pointless in this game. Especially, like, again, I'm sorry that I feel bad that I'm making these comparisons, but I think back to Fallout, where... you play Fallout 3, which came before it, and Fallout 4, just the DLCs were much more interesting experiences where, like, they added to the story, or they added to the environmental storytelling, or they added really interesting content, where I think Skyrim kind of missed the mark because it was just literally, let's add these really silly things because these are just clearly things people want. They want to go and be a vampire. They want to go have babies. And really understand the whole point of having babies in Skyrim. I was like, why is this here? It's basically playing The Sims, but I could just go play The Sims.
The only thing I'll say, like, to defend Skyrim there is you're absolutely right with all of that. I agree that Fallout DLC was much better, but Skyrim came packed in with a lot of it's not DLC, but you might as well just consider it like that, like a lot of bonus content. So even though the actual DLC to me was pretty uninteresting. There was so much extra stuff to do in the base game already that it made up for it, I think. And I remember Fallout 3, like it was as great as it was. I think it was a little bit more barren, right? And probably not on purpose, even though it is a wasteland.
I agree with you, actually, like quite a bit. Like Fallout 3 also suffers the same Bethesda problem of just the main story is incredibly stupid. And you play it and that's not what you're playing that game for. It's like Skyrim. The goal is you're exploring the world, you're enjoying the weird things that are happening. You want to learn why the world the way that it is. You want to meet the characters and find out why their lives are the way that they are. You don't play the games being like, I'm the Dovahkiin and I want to like fuck up a dragon, because nobody cares.
Although I think Find Your Fallout Daddy is more interesting than Skyrim's story.
Finding Your Fallout Daddy is a better story because your Fallout Daddy is Liam Neeson.
Yeah, that too.
That's pretty cool. But the whole Quest for Water story doesn't make any sense. Doesn't make any sense. But that's for a different podcast, in a different universe, on a different day.
No, it isn't, because I plan on bringing up Fallout 3 some more.
Okay, then I'm fine with this too, because I have my own issues with Fallout 3. But I'm the jerk that's like, Fallout New Vegas is the best Fallout. Fuck all y'all. Did I say that out loud? Did I say the loud part quiet and the quiet part loud?
I'm afraid to say so because I kind of like killing the dragons in this game.
Oh no, killing the dragons in Skyrim is fun. Like, I am never going to criticize that again. I punched a dragon, and that was my greatest thrill, given no game lets you punch a dragon in the face.
Yeah.
There is a lot of joy that comes with killing things in Skyrim, because the game is very shameless about what it is. You are a Nordic person. The world is your oyster. You can kind of do whatever you want. And again, you have no consequence whatsoever. So why wouldn't you live out whatever fantasy you want?
And the way that the game goes into slow-mo mode when you land a killing blow just makes that power fantasy even more awesome.
Absolutely. Oh my god. The cheese in the slow-mo is just, it's a chef's kiss. It is so stupid. I love it. As much as like I rag on Skyrim, I have a lot of fond memories playing it, and I think it's just because the game tried to be super serious, but obviously, like, as time has gone on, it's obviously not. Like, it's just a child's power fantasy.
Mm-hmm.
And I, recognizing that now more as an older person, makes me appreciate the game a lot more, because at the end of the day, I recognize that I had a lot of fun playing it, for all its flaws, for all its glitches, for all the stupidity in it. You can't deny that you're not having fun the entire time.
Oh yeah, it was one of those games that I was kind of sucked into, where it's like, I could be playing Skyrim right now instead of doing my work.
And it sinks its claws into you very easily. Like
Yeah.
Pascal was talking about, that intro bit is incredibly fabulous.
Mhm.
It is so well done, and that's where it's almost a shame that the rest of it doesn't have the same like staying power in a lot of ways. It's one of those things where, again, I think Bethesda's always been at fault for just how it does its storytelling. It almost feels like half the time that there are so many different hands in the pot and none of the pots agree.
Mm-hmm.
It's always how I feel when I play a Bethesda game. I think about when I played Fallout 4 for the first time, and then I played some of the DLC. And like the Far Harbor DLC in Fallout 4 is magnificent. It's got a cohesive story. The environmental storytelling is incredibly interesting. The world is interesting. And then I go back to playing Fallout 4 and I'm like, but I don't like this as much, because there are bits and bobs that just don't fit together. Skyrim, for what it's worth, doesn't take itself too seriously, and that's a good thing, I think. And I think it's okay with the fact that most of the bits and bobs don't fit together, because again, who cares?
Yeah.
You have no real
Yeah.
stakes. If the game was closer to something like Mass Effect, where the stakes mattered, that'd be one thing. But the joy of Skyrim is that literally nothing matters. Nothing that you do matters. And that's okay, because you've got this jumbo sandbox to just have fun in, try different things, and do it with gusto. There is so much fun to just being like, I just want to terrorize this town because I can.
I think what got me to finally kind of get over my I'm scared of Western RPGs is playing Breath of the Wild for the first time, which kind of was in that same sandbox. The story in Breath of the Wild was nothing to write home about, but the fun in that was, where's the next shrine or where's the next quest hub? Just running around and doing whatever you want in the big open world. And I definitely got that feeling when I was doing my playthrough of Skyrim this summer, because I just like, oh god, it's another cave. I cannot wait to go through this other cave and figure out what's going to be at the end of it. Is it going to be another dragonborn voice? Is it going to be some good loot? Or what am I going to find? And, to me, a game doesn't have to have a kick-ass story if it has a good gameplay loop.
No, absolutely. Again, at the end of the day, we are playing video games because we want to have fun and we want to get lost in an experience. And again, for all the crappy things Bethesda does, the one thing that it is magnificent at is making the player have fun. The loops are just so easy to fall into, and I think that's a testament to just how well people get invested. Again, Skyrim is something that I look back at and I go, yeah, I had a ton of fun playing that. I had no fucking concept about how to play a Western RPG. The only other one I had played, I think, prior to it was Mass Effect, and it was Mass Effect 1. And that's a completely different experience where, again, it's closer to save the baby, eat the baby, right? Because morality in Mass Effect matters, where in Skyrim, again, they could have went that route. They chose not to, and that's okay. It was weird to go from Skyrim to Fallout 3. That was actually kind of jarring, because in Fallout 3, morality matters. And the world of Fallout 3 is super interesting. But again, then you just kind of see the holes. And as much as the holes are big and glaring, I still had a lot of fun playing it. And then I think Fallout 4 does a good job of bridging some of the great things about Skyrim and some of the more interesting elements of Fallout 3. And again, do I think it was a perfect experience? No. Did I have fun? Absolutely.
That's weird, because technically my first Western RPG too was Mass Effect the previous year. So me and you were on the same trajectory last year.
We were.
The past 2 years, apparently.
Well, I'm very proud of myself in a lot of ways that I got out of that notion that, JRPGs were the only RPGs, because I did have that problem for a long time. Like, I was very stuck in my ways, and again, I married a person who didn't really play JRPGs. So when we started dating, like, Scott and I started to share with each other our favorite games from both genres. I mean, it's why now I love Jade Empire, and why I think Jade Empire is one of the best Western RPGs out there, and why I'm so mad that wuxia games don't exist. I mean, obviously it's because how do you top Jade Empire? That's actually really hard. But I have a lot of really amazing memories now of playing different kinds of Western RPGs and seeing how much I've evolved as a person in terms of both my taste and just my understanding of role-playing games.
Mm-hmm.
And again, making choices in games now is so fun. And again, because the one beauty about Western RPGs is you really can be any kind of person you want. You don't have to be the hero if you don't want to. And I think Skyrim embodies that really well. Your Dovahkiin could just be a total dick the whole game, but at the end of the game, he's still going to be celebrated because, he defeated Alduin, the Overlord Dragon, right?
Right.
It's so stupid, but you buy into it because it's stupid. It's just stupid.
Yep, and he can be the leader of the Thieves Guild, the Assassins Guild, the Companions, the Mages College, or just about, I think, any faction
all
almost.
of them.
Yep, at the same time.
Which is kind of crazy when you think about it, because it's how do you, the Dovahkiin, have that much time to invest into all those different guilds? And how are you doing it well? Because I feel like you can't be the boss well. Do you have time for this now?
I'm a Dovahkiin of many trades, apparently.
It's because by the time you get to be the boss, there are no more requests. There's nothing else for the guild left to do because you've solved every single problem that they've ever had.
Yeah, that game's really bad for that. You solved everyone's problems. Yay!
Except Radiant Quests. Fuck Radiant Quests.
Yay!
See, I never did any Radiant quests.
Yes.
If I'm understanding what you're talking about.
Yeah. So terrible from a like the whole game is so great for like checking things off your completion list, right? Like, oh, this map icon got filled in, and oh, this quest is done, and oh, I'm a leader of this guild. But Radiant quests,
Are those the randomly
they're the
generated
random
ones?
yeah, and they
Okay.
never end.
Gotcha. Yeah. No, I thought you meant something else. Okay. Yeah, I kept a bunch of those in my log. At the
Yeah.
time, I didn't realize that they were just random quests just to do stuff.
So again, when I'm getting upwards of 100 hours and everything is getting moved to the completed quest like file or whatever, it bugs when you have these other things just like sitting there because they're radiant and there's no point in doing them and there will be more of them. But that's it. I'm not bitter about them or anything, just
Yeah. No, I mean, it's something to do if you need money or EXP or just want to kill some time.
yeah, well, I guess so. I mean, I always assumed they were just there, like, well, if you just really enjoy stealthing in the Thieves Guild and you've done the quests that matter, now you can just do these. But I get like I don't kind of see the point in that because the mechanic isn't enough fun to want to continue it past the point of that you need to. And if you do everything the game already gives you to do, there's no real reason that you probably need to grind more experience. I don't know. I don't see the point in them.
Yeah. Just talking about being a JRPG player, learning to appreciate Western RPGs. I think the catalyst here is kind of the consolification of Western RPGs in a way that has made them more approachable and more accessible to people like me that get a little overwhelmed by stats or have kind of a hard time figuring out what to do in a game. You know, like an Oblivion, or in my case, I've tried to boot up the original Fallout multiple times, and I get out of that first cave, and I get my ass handed to me by a scorpion, and I have no idea
Yeah.
where to go or what to do, and it's like, fuck this game. I realize it's important for gaming history, but to me, it's just not, having to have a walkthrough and another tab just to figure out how to get to the next town without getting stabbed. To me, that's not fun.
Yeah, but the original Fallout is intimidating for a lot of probably modern players, and for many other reasons besides just it's a Western RPG.
I tried to play Fallout 1 and 2. I couldn't do it.
And I'm sure there are people screaming at their radio or whatever they're listening to this to right now. It's like, it's not intimidating. You just suck. And it's like, yeah, I probably do. I probably do. No, it's true. I'm a baby. But I need direction in a game to be able to enjoy it for the most part. And games like Skyrim and Breath of the Wild that do a good job of funneling you into the open world so that when you do get to that opening spot, you're ready to take it on. To me, do a much better job than what Fallout tried to do, even though technically Fallout isn't an open world game, but you guys know what I mean, right?
I totally like what you're saying.
Yeah. So there you go. Unless we have anything else to get into, I think we're ready to take a break and go tackle the round table, even though kind of this whole show has been a round table. I have my outline, but really I've just been enjoying just shooting the shit about this game for real.
Yeah, well, that's because Skyrim is a round table. If we wanted to talk about the main story, we would. Well, obviously we have already, and it took all of a minute and a half.
Yep. So we're gonna come back and we're kind of get into our favorite moments, our favorite what we were doing when we was playing the game, that kind of stuff. So stick around. We'll be back. Welcome back to RPG Backtrack, where we are going to get into the Skyrim roundtable, what you like, what you didn't like, your favorites, your non-favorites. So I had did you go Imperial or Stormcloak at the top of the list, and then through the course of the show, you guys are like, well, I didn't do either. And it's like, well, that's a question I could throw out right off the bat. So instead, I'm going to ask, what's the best side quest?
The one where I got accidental lesbian married. That is the best quest.
That was your quest. That wasn't. I don't think that's really. Oh wait, no.
Hey.
You said you did it as part of a quest. Okay.
It was part of because I got the amulet of Myra. Remember?
You said you fell asleep.
It
How
also
great
was-
of a quest was it?
Look, most of the quests in Skyrim are just quests.
I mean,
know.
that's okay. I don't even remember Markarth or these other cities that you're talking about. So
I know, right? I clearly made these up. They're totally bullshit out of my ass, and that's okay. I still love you, Pascal.
I'm sure it exists. That name sounds familiar. I cannot recall any city other than the other ones we mentioned. All of them are pretty vivid in my mind, except for that one.
Nope.
See, I think that I completely missed out on like the bottom half of the map.
That's how I feel about like the western portion. I don't think I went there too often.
Which is very easy to do. I found just completely fuck off in one area and not touch it at all. I had the same problem in Breath of the Wild when I replayed it on the Switch. And it's like, I have no memory of this place. Oh, because I never went here.
Yeah.
That being said, kind of my on paper answer for best side quest is the whole Magic Guild storyline, because that was just epic. And at the end of the storyline, I became the head archmage of the guild, which was amazing. And I had my own little chamber with all sorts of enchantment materials and stuff. So
but then you leave and you go do other shit and you never come back there. So what a help for them it is that you're the archmage.
They'll deal with it. They were fine without me before. They can be fine now. But yeah, I say that my actual favorite side quest, I can't even remember what the name of it was. I just know that I was going into this tomb and this lady kind of stopped me and was like, hey, if you figure out how to open this locked door in the tomb, I'll let you have half of whatever's in there. So I'm like, okay, and kind of go around, open the locks and what have you. Get the door open, and the lady, when I open the door, runs in. It's like, haha, sucks to be you. I'm gonna take all the loot. And then she gets impaled on the ceiling. And that happened, and I thought I was going to fall out of my chair laughing so hard because it was very comedic. Just lady runs in to get the loot, and then this thing comes up out of the ground and smushes her into these spikes in the ceiling. And it's like, wow, that was perfect comedic timing. Good job, Bethesda. Did you say what now?
I was just going to ask, is this just a random place you went?
Yeah, I mean, I just went into a cave that led into a tomb.
Yeah. I
have no idea. I couldn't tell you for the life of me what quest that was or how to find it yourself. I don't even know if it was a Radiant quest or not.
But there you go. That's why I love just walking around and finding things to do versus what the game has prepared for you.
But yeah, that had me laughing so hard I thought it was gonna hurt myself. I don't know what your favorite side quest is, Pascal.
Okay, well, I like you. I don't really remember names or specifics about like actual quests, but as far as like quest chain, I guess I like the Assassin's Guild. I know they have a name that's, I think, bird related. I don't know, red sparrows or something. Anyway, in like the guild quest, there's a lot of cool things in there. Like there's a dead body that starts I think it's like the previous head of the guild or something like that. It's like a mummified corpse and they all kind of revere it. And it gets carted around Skyrim from one location to another. And when it finally reaches like the hideout or whatever of the guild, then you come to find out that it like whispers to you and it gives you directions. Like the spirit within it is talking to you. And there's a quest. Yeah, it's part of the you becoming the leader of the guild slowly, I guess. Quest chain. And the jester, like there's a jester character in the game. I think you actually can find him walking around Skyrim at various points, and he becomes part of that whole like guild story. And it's one of the, from what I remember, it's one of the longer guild side quests and just overall kind of enjoyable. Like it's really dark. I like that.
And I just forgot. I just remembered another one that stuck out to me: the murder investigation in.
Yeah, like is that Winterhold or?
Yeah.
Like there's a
Because-
serial killer on the loose, right? That's the one
Yeah.
you're talking about? Yeah, that's great.
Because I wanted to buy that house so bad, so I'm going through the whole motions trying to buy that house, and including doing that murder investigation. And they're like, something is fishy about that house. Go check it out.
Yeah.
And go in there, and I find the guy's murder dungeon, and it's like, oh god, this is kind of gross and disturbing. Going into the guy's murder dungeon because it was hidden behind a wardrobe, like a false door in a wardrobe, and it was just creepy and unsettling, and that really stuck with me. But I appreciated that when you bought the house and got it furnished, that the murder dungeon turned into your little magic hovel for enchanting and stuff. So that was another particularly memorable quest. I'm sorry, I had to talk about that one because that one was on my mind too.
Yeah,
There's too many good side quests in this game.
You remember more details about it than I did, but I remembered that there was a murder investigation in one of the cities, somewhere up in the northeastern corner, I think, or in the east somewhere. I kind of lose track of which city is which sometimes, but yeah.
Yeah, they all kind of run together after what 200 hours of gameplay.
Yeah, isn't that the city where Ulfric is?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I liked that house a little bit better than the one that was in Whiterun that you're kind of given as default. I didn't fill it with cabbages though. So, did any of us have a funniest or favorite moment that they remember?
Lesbian marriage, punching a dragon while it was in the ground, and then it killing me.
For me, even though I already said that one funny moment, the other funny one was just me being a newbie in the world, running around, just kind of like, oh, there's a wolf, I'm going to kill it. Oh, there's some mammoths, I'm going to stab them. Oh, there's some storm giants, I'm going to go pick a fight with them. And I'm in orbit.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I should have known that given how many videos I've seen of storm giants knocking people to the moon. And how funny they are. Why did I do that? But kiting around a storm giant so that you can kill it is also fun. And they drop a lot of mammoth tusks for building stuff, so that's cool.
Yeah, I don't remember any particularly like funny moments, unfortunately. You were talking about the last thing you were asking was like kind of memorable stuff though. There's a place, I think it's near Whiterun, near-ish, where if you go there at a certain time of night or like on a certain night of the month or however Skyrim measures its time, I don't remember, you can find like a ghostly spirit and I think it's either part of or it leads to another side quest. Like that's kind of neat.
Oh, that must be a hidden thing or something.
Well, yeah, just hidden in the fact of like it's not always accessible. It's you have to get kind of lucky to run into it.
Supposedly people have even found out 10 years later that foxes in the game lead you to stuff.
Okay.
Which
Is it Ghost of Tsushima now?
No, I mean. And I know that's what people were thinking, that they're probably thinking I'm confusing the two, but no, apparently the foxes had sort of an AI to them too, where if you followed them, they would like lead you to treasure chests or caves or whatnot. I think I read the article on Kotaku that was talking about that.
I just remembered something else from the Assassin's Guild. When I don't know if it's after you complete it, but at some point, one of your rewards for following the guild is you get to replace your horse with the undead zombie horse. He doesn't look like he's not like decaying flesh or anything, but he's got I think he has shiny red eyes and he's all black.
Oh, cool!
Get the assassin horse.
Awesome. So did you guys have any memories of what you kind of was doing in your life associated with playing the game?
I believe this was the second time my mom was sick with cancer. Second time, yeah, when it came out. So I had a lot going on in my life, just, helping my folks with cancer treatment and stuff like that. So this was a good escape game for me, especially when things were feeling pretty hard.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I love about video games. If they're good enough, they can just melt all your problems, or at least your anxiety about all your problems away.
Yeah, so I was playing it with my son, meaning like he was actually playing his own playthrough on his account. And back when it came out, he would have been 10, and then it stuck around for like the next year, 2, 3 years maybe after that. So so good times. We ended up buying like the guide, it's like this massive guide for the game. Obviously, a game like this needs like a giant strategy guide, and so that was a great experience.
I can't remember if my husband bought that game or not. Or not that game. That guide. Because I know he bought the game at some point. Or I bought it for him for his birthday. But never mind. That's 10 years ago. So not my most current playthrough, which is the first time I played it this year, but back when the game was still like majorly in the zeitgeist, my husband and I were just in awe of the memes and made arrow to the knee jokes everywhere. And I want to say for Valentine's Day that year, he got me a card that I still have lying around somewhere. No, it was a card. It was the card that came with my flowers that he sent to my office. And the poem on it read something like, "Roses are red, violets are blue. I took an arrow to the knee and fell in love with you."
Aww.
Or something. I can't remember the exact poem. I'd have to dig it out of my memory box and find it. But the joke was definitely arrow to the knee. And I'm like sitting there reading that. I'm like, I literally have the best husband on the planet, because that's just the perfect chef's kiss poem that encompasses our relationship. The latest meme, he's known for doing stuff like this. Like he's sent me cards, or he's gotten me cards where like every first word in a poem added up to "never gonna give you up." He loves doing that kind of stuff. And so just having the arrow to the knee joke in a card for our Valentine's Day was just awesome to me. And that's definitely one of my favorite memories about Skyrim, because I played it this year and it was just kind of like, oh, that's my summer game. I don't really have too many memories associated with it, other than practically staying up way too late getting sucked into it, and spending time like determined to pick a lock and going through 1,000 lock picks. But yeah, definitely lots of good memories. Definitely had a good time playing this. It sounded like you guys had a good time playing it too.
Well, yeah, but as good as it was, so I'm gonna disagree, because Sam, you were saying like you have some problems with Fallout 3. I mean, Fallout 3 really sucked me in. With Skyrim, I really enjoyed it, but I played Fallout 3 first, and it didn't ever get to the point where, like, there was a couple of days where I was playing so much Fallout 3, like I think I was like slightly addicted to it for a short period of time.
No, and that's good. I mean, I piss on Fallout 3 just mostly because, again, I really do hate that story. I think that story is it's so problematic and it's so stupid. But I'm never going to deny, again, just finding the side quests and finding the environmental bits that are just so clever and so smart. I will never go to Little Lamplight ever again, though. I hate those children. As a person who works in children's programming, I love kids. I love hanging out with them. I hate those children specifically.
In Fallout 3, what really did it for me was a handful of. So anytime you stumble on another vault, because I think the one you come from is Vault 23, or no, okay, maybe, I'm not sure, whatever it is. But you find other vaults if you happen to like stumble across them or take a quest that tells you to go to one. And in almost all of them, like that you can actually enter, something happened, like some shit went down. And to me, it was like, oh god, it was so fascinating to like figure out what happened in this other, because it's such a like different world in the vaults than it is on the surface. And each vault completely, like once they get sealed off, they went their own complete like timeline. Nothing matches to the evolution like in the other vaults. It was really fucking fascinating to explore those, and nothing in Skyrim ever got to that point.
Well, that's it. I think Skyrim was very simplistic in a lot of what it did, and that's okay. And that's kind of what I always go back to partially why I like the Fallout games just a little bit more is just there is a little more nuance to the quest. There is a little bit more nuance to the world. Again, there's consequence, and I think consequence is such an important element, in the Bethesda games. Again, you can do anything you want in Skyrim, and there's literally no consequence to your actions, and that's a different kind of fun, I think, in a lot of ways. And that's why it's like I can say I enjoyed both. Again, when I think about like Bethesda-made RPGs that I've played, I like Fallout 4 a lot more because I think it just blends. It shows how much Bethesda has grown in a lot of ways. But that's where I also kind of nitpick and go, I still think New Vegas was better. But again, as I've pointed out repeatedly, I'm an Obsidian whore, so
I was gonna say the non-Bethesda Fallout
is my favorite. Yeah, yeah. Just in general, I've always found for me personally, Obsidian just hits all the right notes for me personally. But I give Fallout 4 points because I think there's a lot. It showed a lot of maturity and growth from what Skyrim and Fallout 3 were for sure, and I think that's good.
So this is kind of crazy, but I'm low key kind of excited to someday play Fallout 76.
Ooh,
That's surprising, given what I've heard about that game.
Yeah,
Pascal, you said you weren't feeling well tonight, correct?
I'm
should we
really
be
not.
concerned for you?
Is this starting to manifest itself?
It really might be.
I was
Yeah.
gonna say I'm the one that got the Rona vaccine, and you're the one that's talking crazy.
I feel a relapse coming on.
Oh no!
As long
How
as
many
it's
fingers
no-
am I holding up? How many fingers?
Is it the middle one?
See?
As long as it's
That
not
was
the
one of
triad
many.
stick. So both middle fingers, one from each hand.
Ooh, yeah. The psychic powers are working. Only a couple 100 miles apart. He can see it.
I mean, there's bad, and then there's so bad it's good. And I think from what I've heard, Fallout 76 actually falls into the latter category. I'm kind of excited to experience it one day.
I get it. Sometimes you just got to see the train wreck. Like,
Yeah.
you got to be there. You got to see what it's like.
I mean, there's a reason why we did an Idea Factory episode, and why we're going to be pulling together another shit show episode for next year. We just haven't landed on what.
Also, it takes a year to find enough participants to volunteer for that.
Yeah.
You
Like,
got to know
hey,
what you're walking into.
you want to subject yourself to pain? Have we got the show for you to be on?
You always have to wait for the next hiring call so that there's like fresh blood who's unsuspecting.
And we always got to try to find someone who's absolutely in love with that concept.
Oh, of
Because-
course.
Oh, the opposing viewpoints would be wonderful.
Of course. Oh, this has been a good show tonight. I think we're ready to put this one to bed because some of us needed to go to bed a little bit early, and I think we kind of ran out of Skyrim stuff to talk about there. 'Cause, I mean, we could probably sit here all day and wax awesome about Skyrim, but
I don't know. I think I'm tapped dry pretty much at this point.
I
I
don't think I
definitely am.
could.
I think
Because that's the thing. There's just nothing else to say.
yeah, I think I've hit the arrow to the knee as well. See
Wow.
the whole show, and we only brought that up maybe a handful of times. But
I know. I was a little disappointed I didn't get more meme action going.
don't get me wrong, the memes in this that spawn from this are freaking hilarious, but they were also kind of overdone, just a tad. I don't know if you guys were present for the meme of doing the now you're awake opening scene in various videos and stuff. Probably not.
You mean like Breath of the Wild? Is that what are you referring to? Like how the game starts, or
No, for Skyrim, there was a meme going around about inserting the "Now You're Awake" scene,
who the hell says that?
or when you first wake up on the cart.
Okay.
I've
Nah,
even
that's it.
seen people get a color-changing mug that when it's hot turns into that scene where you wake up, which is pretty funny. But I think we're ready to put this one to bed when I'm having to explain memes that apparently only I've seen.
All right. Well, everyone out there, you three especially, thank you for joining us in our radiant quest to talk about Skyrim here tonight. I think we've punched enough dragons, taken enough arrows to the knee. We already bought a murder hovel. We've remembered perfectly all the proper names of every city and side quest in the game, and accidentally found ourselves in a lesbian marriage. Or at least we did most of those things. I really can't remember. It's been too many years already. But thank you, all our audience out there, for listening. Good morning, good day, good night, goodbye.
Take care.
We drink to our youth, for the days come and gone, for the age of aggression is just about done. We'll drive out the storm cloaks and restore what we own. With our blood and our steel we will take back our home. Down with Afric, the killer of kings. On the day of your death we will drink and we'll sing. We're the children of Skyrim and we fight all our lives. And when Sovngarde beckons, every one of us dies.
I'm the dirty one.